Hello, all you nerds. How you guys doing today? So, I'm currently in Kansas. Yes, Kansas. And early this morning, I finally finished the Wheel of Time series on audiobook. Oh my God, guys! I've been listening to this thing for so long. Like, I did not want to finish it, but at the same time, I wanted to know how it ended. You know, it was just that kind of situation. And so this video is going to just be my thoughts on the series overall. And quite frankly, overall, it is big. Like, it really is. This is like Robert Jordan did basically Tolkien levels of world building. You know, so it was absolutely ridiculous how much is in these books. And so I tell you this anytime I recommend it to somebody, like, if you want to start it, make like a spreadsheet. Make a spreadsheet so you can keep track of who, what, when, where, basically, because there's a lot. And there's at one point in this final book, in the last battle, the big last battle. Well, you know, where, you know, they're talking about this, they're talking about something. It's like, why does that sound familiar? And then they kind of show, and I was like, oh, it's these guys, right? That was awesome, you know. So I absolutely loved this. So I absolutely loved this series. It was such a wonderful series. I'm really sad that it's over now, you know, like, it's done. So, and some of you probably don't know this, but Robert Jordan actually passed away before he finished the series. So, take notes, George R.R. Martin. But he actually, after he passed, he was okay with someone finishing the series. You know, he was okay with that. So after he passed, I want to say it was a couple years after he passed. I don't know, like, the exact timeline. But they contacted Brandon Sanderson, who is also a wonderful author. And they're like, hey, we want you to finish the series. And Robert Jordan had left a lot of notes and a lot of outlines, you know, for the final. Basically, it was supposed to be one book, but it was so big, they split it up into 3. So, Brandon Sanderson finished the series. And I'm going to go ahead, and I got to give props to him, because there wasn't a noticeable difference between Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson. Like, I couldn't really tell the difference. So if I had not known Robert Jordan was dead, I honestly wouldn't have been able to tell the difference, really. I do think, though, hold on, I'm not going to talk about that yet. But, yeah, so it was absolutely a wonderful series. Wonderful characters. Oh, my God, it was... and, I mean, it had villains that you just love to hate. Like, they're just so despicable. Like, you cannot enjoy... You don't... Like, they're so bad, evil. You know, they're so evil, you can't enjoy their scenes. You're kind of like, oh, please, get done with this, because I'm getting angry at this character. So, just absolutely wonderful character building. And, you know, you kind of feel tragedy for a lot of these characters. You kind of feel bad for them. And so, I kind of have to wonder, and so, God, I really want to talk about the one thing about the series that I hated, but, because it's the most recent thing. But no, it was such a wonderful series. Great world building. The magic system was awesome. Kind of loose, per se, on, you know, what was allowed and all that. But, yeah. Well, I mean, there were some firm things, like you couldn't raise the dead, you know. But, it was just absolutely, a wonderful listen to. And I know it was narrated by I want to say Annette Redding and something Kramer. Brian Kramer. I could be wrong about that. Don't quote me. But I know his last name's Kramer and Annette Redding. They did the narrating, and they did a wonderful job. Absolutely fantastic job. Great narrators. And so got like one of the minor problems that I had is there was a lot of internal dialogue, you know, that was going on, and sometimes it just seemed like it was so monologue-y. You know, it's like, okay, we get it. You feel sad, move on. But you know, I could appreciate knowing the mindset of these characters, and and so having like listened to the series, because I actually read the first half of the series. I want to say like the first 7 or 8 books. I read it in print. All right, but I never finished reading it. So I've listened to the whole series, but I haven't read the whole series. But I gotta say, my favorite character. God, like it's hard to pick a favorite character because all of them are just so wonderful. Matt is fun as hell, you know. Like, unfortunately, if you only watched the Amazon show, they fucked up big time with that. Like, oh my God, that was horrible. Like, they completely missed a lot of the points, you know. So one of my favorite characters was Matt. I loved Perrin. I loved Tom Marilyn. Like, it was just so, like some of their scenes were just so awesome, you know. And it's not even like they were badass, you know. It's like they were funny too. Like, there was some comedy in this series. There was action. There was drama. There was everything. Like, oh, it was so good. Oh, Amazon, you fucked up. Like, do me a favor, do not make season 2. Give it to a fan. Like, they'll stay true, because I don't know why they made the changes that they did. You know, I don't know why they made the changes that they did. The changes that they made, watching someone back up next to me, you know, I can see through the crack in my curtain, so making sure he's not hitting my mirrors. But yeah, so it was just, I don't know why they made the changes that they did, because they had something great to work with, and they fucked it up. You know? So, yeah, I loved the characters. The magic system was good. And the progression was actually really nice. So, a couple problems that I did have with the series, though. One of them is, it is an epic fantasy. So, epic fantasies are typically defined as, you know, a long journey, basically. And obviously, if you have a long journey, you're going to have a lot of problems. It just seems like they were kind of really, especially this last book, especially the last couple chapters of the last book. It just seemed like they were really kind of trying to pad out that page count, you know? So they did that. Another problem is, I kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier, you know, where they kind of brought back something that, you know, they had in a different book, and it's like, oh, I actually forgot about them. So I think that is something that, so that's actually kind of a problem, because it is so big. Like, you tend to forget about characters, you know, and unfortunately, though, they kind of did this in the last book, where, you know, they were talking about these characters, but, like, you can't really care about them because you haven't spent so much time with them. Or, you know, and they also kind of did this too. They treated some of these other characters as like these minor characters, despite the big impact that they've had on the plot and the story, and even like you've read things from their perspective. So that unfortunately I wasn't a big fan of. And then I wasn't a big fan of the ending, the overall ending. Honestly, I feel like it was a little too short, because it basically ended right after the last battle. It basically went through it got through the last battle, and then it did like a small general ending, and then that was it. I don't think that was the right call. I think they should have like showed what happens to the characters over like the next 100 years, because there are some questions that we need, that I would like to have answers to. Like you have this character Oliver. What happens to Oliver? Like they mentioned, he ends up going out to do something, but then that's it. Like, okay, who takes care of him? Like, does he stay with the band? Does he go with Matt? Does he, is he adopted by Perrin and Fail? Like, what's going on here? What happens to him? And then it's like, okay, what does Elaine name her kids? Does Elaine continue to hold the throne for both Andor and Caemlyn? Or is that just the city? I can't remember. I can't remember if Caemlyn's like the city or the nation that's right next to Andor. I can't remember if which one it is. But you guys know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so there are some questions that I would like to have answered. So I may go on Reddit to try to see if anyone knows. Like if there's any like official word on this. So, but yeah, I finished the series. I'm really sad about that. Really give this a try. If you love fantasy at all in any capacity, give this series a try. It's absolutely wonderful. All right, and it actually did not. And it was it didn't do some of the tropes that I've come to kind of expect from certain things. It didn't go into any like graphic detail when characters were having sex. Like they just implied they were going to have sex, and then that was it. So they didn't really, they didn't really be like, and he thrust into her as hard as he could, and things like that. Like they didn't do any of that. Oh, there was a smear on my glasses. It made it look like it was kind of smoky, and it was like, is that on fire? But no, it's just my glasses. But yeah, I love this. I loved the series. I may end up just listening to it again, because it was just so wonderful, and you really felt for the characters, and yeah, it was. Oh God, I cannot sing praises enough. Rest in peace, Robert Jordan. You created a masterwork that, in my opinion, is equal to Tolkien. I would say Robert Jordan is equal to Tolkien. If you were to compare George R.R. Martin, Tolkien, and Robert Jordan and Tolkien are number 1, and George R.R. Martin is number 3. So, good job, Robert Jordan. Good job, Brandon Sanderson, with continuing the legacy of Robert Jordan. And kudos to you, and great job. Wonderful. Great job to the narrators. Just absolutely wonderful. I cannot sing the praises of this series enough. So, please give this a try. And Amazon, get your heads out of your ass and actually do this series right. So, you guys have a good one.